The nightclub girl Vivian Drake said she was the future person and the wife of Ethan Grant. Ethan was like a possessed man and would not marry anyone but her. Not only did he go out with her from time to time, but he also embarrassed me at the engagement party. The moment he said he cancelled the engagement, everyone looked at me with sympathy. Okay, then we won't get married, and we'll go our separate ways in the future. I agreed calmly, secretly relieved. Because in my previous life, I stopped him and told him that the nightclub girl had been lying, trying to cheat him of his money, and had contracted a sexually transmitted disease. Grant's parents did not agree to the marriage, and the nightclub girl jumped into the sea in shame. Ethan was forced to marry me, and soon after the marriage, he poured gasoline on me while I was asleep. In the flames, I saw Ethan's angry eyes. If you hadn't framed her, how could Vivian jump into the sea? You killed her. Mrs. Grant, how dare you enjoy everything that should belong to her? Today is her death anniversary. I want you to apologize to her with your life. When I opened my eyes again, I returned to the day of the engagement. Watching Ethan stand up indignantly, bravely propose to the nightclub girl, and publicly regret the engagement, I smiled and nodded in agreement. Beautiful love should be blessed. I withdraw. I wish you a baby soon. The originally lively engagement party boiled over because of Vivian's appearance. The guests present whispered, "This woman smells like prostitutes. She must be from a nightclub. I can smell the cloying perfume from a distance. Ethan has always had good taste. How could he get involved with such a woman? No way. Look at Ethan's eyes. Is this nightclub girl his true love?" The male and female protagonists standing in the middle of the engagement party looked at each other affectionately, as if they didn't hear other people's comments. Vivian's face covered with foundation looked aggrieved and pitiful. She said in a crying voice, "Ethan, believe me, I really came from the future. I am a person 5 years later. 5 years later, we not only got married, but also loved each other very much and had a pair of lovely twins. Unfortunately, I had a car accident and heart failure. You died to donate your heart to me. Only then did I know how much you loved me." Vivian said these words with tears in her eyes. Others looked at him as if he was a fool. Only Ethan had a serious face, as if he had taken it seriously. "Are you telling the truth? How can you prove it?" Vivian pointed at his waist and cried, "I know you have a birthmark on your waist, and I know you bought a beach house because you bought it for me." I couldn't help but sneer. When Ethan attended various business meetings, his photos had been exposed long ago, and these were not secrets at all. Vivian couldn't continue and cried even harder. "There are too many details between us, Ethan. I will tell you slowly when I go back, okay? But you can't get engaged to this woman today, because I am your wife, and I came back 5 years ago just to love you again." Ethan was really moved by her. His eyes began to turn red, and his eyes were firm. "I believe you." He protected Vivian behind him and took her hand. As if she had made up her mind, she turned around and said to me coldly, "Tanya Shao, I will never marry you. The only person I want to marry in this life is Vivian. She is my future wife. She traveled back from the future with great difficulty just to love me again. I can't bear to make her sad." I almost couldn't help laughing. "I have asked a private detective to investigate. Vivian is best at making up such bizarre lies. She used this trick to deceive 3 rich second generations, and it worked every time. But every time she got the money, she ran away. Then she continued to cheat in another place. Ethan, a simple and stubborn fool, is exactly her target. In the last life, I saw through the truth and stopped Ethan in time, but he killed me. But this time, I decided to respect the fate of others. Watch him reap what he sowed." I nodded. "I understand. Well." Uncle Grant stormed in angrily before he finished speaking. "I don't agree." Uncle Grant's chest was heaving with anger. "Tanya has been waiting for you for 5 years. You have been childhood sweethearts and have been waiting to get engaged today. You actually said you want to break the engagement? Are you worthy of her?" Ethan was not afraid at all and knelt down in front of Uncle Grant. "Dad, the person I want to marry is Vivian. As for Tanya," he frowned and looked at me, "I only treat you as a sister." I was disgusted. What a sister? She handed me love letters every day in college. She drove away all the suitors around me. When you coaxed me to give you my first kiss in the study, why didn't you say I was your sister? But I didn't plan to agree so easily. After all, it was the Grant family who broke the engagement first, and they should compensate the Shao family. "You beast, you ruined the reputation of my Grant family. You can marry anyone, but you have to marry a nightclub girl?" Uncle Grant was so angry that he was shaking and pointed at him and was about to faint. Aunt Grant said coldly, "Ethan, if you dare to marry this woman, I will pretend that I have never given birth to you. If you dare to get involved with this nightclub girl, get out of the Grant family immediately. We can't afford to lose this person." I nodded. This is the truth. The Grant family is a famous old money family. Uncle Grant gave up literature and went into business. Although his business is very big, he is still a Confucian businessman. He attaches great importance to decency. The family style of their family has always been very strict. Although the Grant family is rich, the head of the family has never had the bad habit of flirting with other women. Seeing his parents say such harsh words, Ethan's eyes flashed with a trace of hesitation, but he turned his head and looked at me viciously. "Tanya, why don't you say anything? I know you are also reborn. Think about how you were burned to death in your last life, and you should know how much I love Vivian. Are you still willing to marry me?" Hearing this, I trembled all over and clenched my fists tightly. It turned out that he was also reborn. The pain of being burned by the flames in the last life was still vivid in my mind. Ethan's voice was so low that only I could hear it, but the action of him talking to me attracted the attention of everyone present. Even Uncle Grant and Auntie looked at me. Tanya, this beast is sorry for you. Are you still willing to continue the engagement? As long as you are willing to marry Ethan, Uncle Grant will tie him up and send him to you today, no matter what. He will never see this nightclub girl again in his life. As soon as Uncle Grant finished speaking, Ethan's face showed panic, and the look he looked at me was even more resentful. He squeezed out a few words from his teeth. Tanya, you dare to say yes. I lowered my head and smiled, took a step forward, and said loudly in front of all the guests. Although I, Tanya, followed my parents' arrangement to arrange this marriage, I am not a stingy person. Since Ethan has another true love, and their love is so beautiful, of course I will respect the blessing. I hereby announce that today's engagement is cancelled. As soon as the voice fell, the scene exploded. Even the group of good brothers around Ethan looked at each other in shock. No way? Tanya can actually give up the engagement. Am I dreaming? Everyone in the industry says that she loves Ethan to death. If she compromises at this engagement party, everyone will gossip about her in the future, saying that she is not even as good as a nightclub girl. How can she survive in the industry in the future? But I just smiled faintly and ignored it. I took the initiative to hand the bouquet to Vivian. It's your turn. After saying that, I took off the veil and turned away. Aunt Grant was so angry that she stepped forward and grabbed my hand. Tanya, don't take Ethan's nonsense seriously. No matter who Ethan wants to marry, you are the only daughter-in-law in Aunt Grant's eyes. I smiled and pulled my hand back. Aunt, a forced melon is not sweet. You should just help them. When Vivian saw this scene, a trace of surprise flashed in her eyes, while Ethan looked at me with complicated eyes. Tanya, you are sensible. Since we were husband and wife in the last life, I will treat you as my sister in this life and support you for the rest of my life. I think it's even more ridiculous. I have parents who can take care of themselves, so you don't have to worry about it. Ethan tried to grab my hand but missed it. He stood there, watching my back gradually disappear. I found Ethan's quietest brother, Liam Vance. I want to marry you, Liam. Will you marry me? Liam looked at me in disbelief and spit out a mouthful of water. He blushed, not knowing whether he was shy or scared. He turned his face away, but I could feel his body tense. I had the patience to wait. In my last life, I was burned to death by the fire that Ethan had lit himself. I just learned that Liam rushed in to save me in the fire, even at the cost of burning a leg. He took some of my ashes away. He kept me with him every day. He also said that he didn't protect me well and blamed himself for not being brave enough. Only then did I understand his feelings, that he had always loved me silently. But I found out too late. Now I finally have a chance to start over. I want to end my relationship with Ethan completely. I also decided to repay Liam. I don't know how long it took, he said softly. Liam said, you must be very sad after being jilted. I am willing to be your shield. I frowned and held his hand. Not a shield. What? He looked at my hand in shock, his face reddening again. How can you blush so easily? It softens my heart. Actually, I've liked you for a long time. I teased him on purpose. After being burned to death in the last life, I became a wandering soul for 5 years. I watched Vivian contract a venereal disease and her body rot. I watched Ethan suffer the consequences of his own actions and end up with nothing. When I was a wandering soul, I accompanied the paralyzed Liam.